Vital Foundation takes action against women and child abuse. R1 from every Vital pack will be donated to organizations fighting abuse. Make a difference.
Throughout the world, DNA profiling provides evidence that may be used to convict criminals. However, South Africa is lacking in services and technology in this area. The DNA Project aims to advance the use of DNA evidence in crime resolution.
The DNA Project is a non-profit organization. We started it at the time of my father's murder in 2004. And it was due to the loss of critical biological DNA evidence at his crime scene that was never collected that I realized we needed an organization to drive this process in South Africa and to utilize this incredible technology for crime resolution.
One of the DNA Project's greatest achievements is working with government to pass a new legislation which will essentially overhaul and expand our national DNA database.
The role of the DNA Project in campaigning and passing this DNA legislation started as long ago as 2008. At that time, we had researched the necessity for legislation in South Africa, and we had a break with the then Deputy Minister of Justice, Johnny de Lange. At that time, he recognized that the only way we could build up a large DNA database in South Africa was to make it compulsory for all arrestees and all convicted offenders to have their DNA profiles taken and entered onto a database. Eventually this year, the Executive Cabinet introduced it back into Parliament. There was a second draft of the bill, and the Portfolio Committee on Police have in fact worked incredibly hard on finalising the bill, which was eventually passed by the National Assembly last week.
The DNA Project also equips the general public with specific training on how to preserve critical DNA evidence at crime scenes.
So many communities are unaware of the significance of DNA evidence, how important it is to preserve and protect a crime scene in order to ensure that by the time the crime scene investigators arrive, that evidence is in fact contained. In the instances of a rape, for instance, it's important to get to a facility, a healthcare facility, within 48 hours. If you can ensure that the biological evidence that is left on a victim's body is in fact preserved within those 48 hours, we have a much greater chance of actually linking the perpetrator to the crime.
For a crime such as rape, physical evidence containing DNA can play a key role in convicting the assailant, so women should know how to preserve the evidence.
This is a huge milestone, not only for all South Africans, but particularly for our vulnerable population, our women and our children. Because of the strength of this evidence, because of the fact that there is a huge chance of actually securing convictions, it is something that needs to be supported. We need to educate ourselves as women as to how we can ensure that this vital evidence is protected.
Rape Crisis is an organization which helps victims of rape get physical, mental, and legal support in the aftermath of a horrific act of violence, empowering women to speak out.
The problem of rape in South Africa is a lot bigger than people think. First of all, the kind of statistics that we get from our police are really only the tip of the iceberg. And secondly, a lot of rape is not actually punishable by law. We would not get enough evidence to actually convict it as a crime in court. But these kind of coercive sexual interactions can leave effects that are just as devastating.
Among their services, Rape Crisis provides care centers, hotlines, and even pre-trial counseling and ongoing support during court procedures.
Recovering from rape is a huge challenge. A lot of our services are designed to help women recover. And I talk about women because they're the majority of rape survivors, but we do have a small percentage of men who access our services and who have exactly the same needs to recover and to negotiate their way through the criminal justice system. So in terms of what women can do to prevent rape, I always say that the most important thing is to find your strength in bringing rapists to justice, because that deterrent effect is what the law really is all about. It's acting as a deterrent to other rapists, and it's saying to men that rape, that this is unacceptable and it has to stop.
Through organizations like DNA Project and Rape Crisis, we as a nation have the necessary tools to help stop the scourge of crimes against women and children. Let's stand up and make a change today.
The Vital Foundation takes action against women and child abuse. R1 from every Vital pack will be donated to organizations fighting abuse. Make a difference.